The financial game most people don't know they're playing. Most people don't wake up thinking they're failing financially. They wake up feeling tired. Tired of the routine. Tired of the pressure. Tired of wondering why life feels harder every year even though they're working just as hard, sometimes harder, than before. You might have a steady job. You might be paying your bills on time. You might even be saving or investing a little. From the outside, everything looks fine, but beneath that surface is a quiet, persistent question that won't go away. Is this actually leading somewhere? Because deep down, many people sense that something is off. The numbers don't add up the way they were promised. Costs rise faster than income. Time feels tighter, not freer, and the future feels more uncertain the longer you stay on the same path. Here's the truth most people never hear. You're not just managing money. You're playing a financial game, one with rules, incentives, and outcomes, and most people are playing it without ever being told how it works. For most people in the US and the UK, financial life doesn't feel like a crisis. It feels manageable. You have a job, you pay your bills, you plan your month around your paycheck and tell yourself that as long as nothing goes wrong, you'll be fine. And that's exactly the trap. Because the financial game most people are playing isn't designed to collapse suddenly. It's designed to slowly narrow your options over time. Inflation quietly eats away at purchasing power. Housing costs claim a bigger share of income. Career growth slows just as responsibilities increase. Raises arrive, but they rarely change your position in a meaningful way. What makes this dangerous is how normal it all feels. There's no obvious warning sign, no dramatic failure, just a gradual sense that despite doing what you were told, life feels tighter, not freer. Most people assume this is just adulthood. They believe that stress, financial pressure, and limited choices are the price of being responsible. But that belief hides a deeper truth. The system rewards predictability, not progress. It rewards people who depend on monthly income, who plan short-term, and who trade time for stability. You're not stuck because you're doing something wrong. You're stuck because the default financial path prioritizes survival over independence. And until you recognize that you're in a game with rules stacked toward maintenance, not freedom, it's almost impossible to change the outcome. Seeing this clearly isn't pessimistic. It's empowering, because you can't play a game strategically until you admit you're already in one. The reason this game works so effectively isn't because people are careless. It works because most people were taught the same financial logic and never encouraged to question it. From a young age, money is framed as something you earn through effort and responsibility. Work hard, be reliable, avoid risk, and everything will eventually work out. This mindset prioritizes security, but it quietly limits growth. It teaches people to protect what they have instead of building what they need. As a result, many financial decisions are driven by fear of instability rather than long-term strategy. People choose careers based on safety instead of leverage. They delay investing until life feels settled, even though life rarely is. They upgrade lifestyles the moment income increases, assuming progress means comfort rather than control. Another hidden issue is fragmentation. Work, spending, saving, and investing are treated as separate areas instead of parts of one system. Income decisions aren't connected to future optionality. Spending isn't evaluated by opportunity cost. Investing becomes an afterthought rather than a foundation. None of this happens because people lack discipline or intelligence. It happens because the system rewards short-term predictability. Monthly income feels reliable, long-term thinking feels abstract, and the consequences of small financial choices take years to fully show up. This creates a dangerous illusion that stability equals safety. In reality, stability without strategy is fragile. When inflation rises, industries change, or life throws unexpected pressure, the entire structure is exposed. The core problem isn't money itself. It's that most people are playing a long-term game with short-term thinking, and the rules quietly punish that mistake over time. Once you understand that you're in a financial game, the goal isn't to escape overnight or take extreme risks. The real shift is learning how to play differently while still living in the real world. This starts with redefining what progress actually means. For most people, progress is measured by comfort, a nicer apartment, A better car. Fewer worries this month than last. But comfort is short-term. Control is long-term. And the game rewards those who prioritize control early, even when it feels uncomfortable. A different approach begins with treating income as a tool, not a destination. Income is not proof that you're winning, it's fuel. Fuel to build skills that don't depend entirely on your time. Fuel to invest consistently, even when the amounts feel small. Fuel to create options rather than obligations. This doesn't mean abandoning stability. It means being intentional with it. You can keep your job while asking smarter questions. Does this role build rare skills? Does it increase future earning leverage? Does it open doors, or quietly narrow them? These questions matter more than salary alone. For younger people, especially those between 18 and 35, this often means delaying lifestyle upgrades in favor of flexibility. For others, it may mean simplifying, cutting financial noise, reducing dependency, and reallocating energy toward assets that compound slowly but reliably. There is nothing dramatic about this phase. In fact, it often feels boring. Progress doesn't announce itself. But unlike the default path, this approach builds momentum instead of resetting every month. You stop reacting to money and start positioning yourself around it. That's when the game changes, not because you're chasing more, but because you're finally playing with intention. The real impact of how you play the financial game doesn't show up quickly. That's why so many people underestimate it. In the short term, different choices often look similar. You still work, you still pay bills, life goes on, but over years and decades, the outcomes begin to separate dramatically. When you stay on the default path, your world slowly narrows. More of your time is pre-committed. Decisions become heavier because there's less room for error. Financial stress doesn't always come from crisis, it comes from dependence. Dependence on a paycheck, on constant effort, on circumstances staying favorable. But when you take a long-term view, something subtle changes. Progress becomes quieter but more reliable. You stop measuring success by monthly comfort and start measuring it by flexibility. Small, disciplined actions begin to compound. Skills deepen, assets grow. Time starts working with you instead of against you. Financial freedom, in this sense, isn't about quitting work or chasing luxury. It's about optionality, the ability to slow down if needed, to change direction without panic, to make decisions based on values rather than pressure. This is why time matters so much. The earlier you align your actions with the right incentives, the more powerful consistency becomes. And the longer you stay intentional, the less dramatic effort is required to maintain progress. In the end, the long game doesn't demand perfection. It rewards patience, clarity, and the willingness to think beyond the next paycheck. At the end of the day, this isn't about becoming obsessed with money or turning life into a spreadsheet. It's about awareness, because the most expensive financial mistake most people make isn't a bad investment or a missed opportunity. It's staying on autopilot for too long. Once you recognize that a game is being played, you start noticing things differently. You see how small decisions stack up. You notice how often comfort is chosen over progress. Not because it's wrong, but because it's easy. And you begin to understand that most financial outcomes aren't dramatic failures or breakthroughs. They're the result of quiet, repeated choices made over time. The goal isn't to have everything figured out. Very few people ever do. The goal is to stop drifting, to make decisions with intention instead of habit, to understand why you're doing what you're doing, and where it's likely to lead if nothing changes. Financial clarity doesn't arrive all at once. It builds slowly, through reflection, adjustment, and consistency. But once it starts, it changes how you think about work, money, and time. You stop asking how to survive the next year and start thinking about how to shape the next decade. So here's the real question to leave with you. Do you feel like you're actively choosing your financial direction, or simply reacting to it? And what part of your money or career life feels the most unclear right now? Share your thoughts in the comments. That's where meaningful conversations and better decisions often begin.